Hello and welcome. In this course, we are going to be creating executive dashboards. These are dashboards used by top executives to make important business decisions. Dashboards are basically a representation of the data that is already present in the database. We're just using the dashboards to present the data in a format that makes it easy for top executive to analyze and make decisions. So we'll be adding dashboards like maps. So this is known as a bubble map. So we'll be creating a map like this in the course. Looking at this map, top executives can look at the map and look at the regions where you have most customers. So you can tell here that this region here, we've got over 4,000 customers in this region. Here we've got 1,000 plus, and all over the United States, you can tell from the bubbles the different pockets or areas where your customers are distributed. We will also learn how to create column charts like these to represent sales data. So top executives could look at data like this from a chart and make important business decisions. We will also be creating a pie chart that will represent data from different regions. So looking at this pie chart here, you can tell which regions has the most customers and so on. So we'll be creating a pie chart similar to this in the course as well. We will also learn how to add indicators. These smiley faces here are various indicators that indicates different things. So these indicators here represent different things. For example, here, this one goes green if the sales for last year is greater than the sales years to date, and it goes green. If the sales for last year is less, it goes red, and so on. So indicators are used as a guide to represent change in data. We will also learn how to add a gauge. A gauge, basically, if you look at a gauge in terms of real world, you can put a gauge on your battery on your phone to check if the battery is low or high. That is a gauge. Your petrol tank, again, you can apply a gauge to that. So a gauge basically is a way of measurement of something. So we're going to learn how to add a simple gauge to reflect some data. We will also learn how to create a very basic report, something like this, using our SQL Server Report Builder. We will also learn how to create a data source using SQL Server Report Builder. So we'll learn how to add a source that we can reference for our data. So we'll learn how to, when we create the data source, we've got to give it a name. So we'll give it a name. We'll also use a connection embedded in the report. We'll use that option to reference the data source. We'll also specify the server name for the data source. We'll be using the Windows authentication as a method of logging on to the server. And also we'll have to select a database. So we'll be selecting the AdventureWorks 2016 database as our data source for the data. We will also be creating a data source during this course. So in our data source, we'll select a source from the database. We're going to use a database view in some cases. In others, we might use the table. So whereby we use the views, we'll select a view. A view basically is a SQL statement. So we're going to, if we use the view, we're going to select one of the options from the views and reference that as our data source.